Presidential candidate can lose the popular vote, but still win the election.
It's an absolutely crazy system. Crazy, dangerous, dysfunctional, anti-democratic.
The US has an electoral college system, which means if a candidate wins the vote in a handful of states where the races are tight, called swing states, they can win the White House without winning the popular vote nationwide. It's happened only 5 times in American history. 2 of those times were in the 21st century, and polls indicate it could happen again this November. Is it fair that a less popular candidate can win the race? That's become a pretty common question in the US.
Given the kind of the divisions in the country right now, the idea that an election is turning on votes in a handful of counties in basically 7 swing states, it's an absolutely crazy system.
Here's how the system works. For a presidential candidate to win, they have to get the most electoral votes. Those are votes cast by state electors who represent the winner of the popular vote in each state. The number of electoral votes each state has is based on its population size, and any candidate who wins even the slightest majority in a state gets all of its electoral votes. That system has led to situations like in the 2000 election, when Republican George W. Bush won the state of Florida by just 537 votes, handing him the White House, even though his opponent won over 500,000 more votes nationwide. In 2016, it happened again. Republican Donald Trump won the election with a wide margin of electoral votes, even though his Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton, received 2.8 million more popular votes overall. Actually, in my lifetime, a Republican has only won the popular vote once, George Bush in 2004. No Democrat in US history has been able to take the White House without winning the popular vote. One of the reasons the Electoral College favors Republicans is because several states with small, mostly rural populations tend to vote Republican. And even though electoral votes are proportioned according to population, it's not a perfect ratio. Let's compare Wyoming, the country's least populous state, with California, the most populous. Wyoming has 3 electoral votes, and the state's population is 580,000. California has 54 electoral votes, but it also has 39 million people living there. Calculated out, that means Wyoming voters who support the Republican candidate Donald Trump by a huge margin have 3 to 4 times the voting power of California voters, who are expected to vote for Democrat Kamala Harris. One argument in favor of the Electoral College is that's precisely why we have it, so that America's heartland still has a voice.
It sometimes seems no one likes it, but that doesn't mean that it's easy to change, because it is a voice for the states, and it's often felt that without that voice for the states, presidential elections would be very different. Much time would be spent campaigning only in the largest cities then.
But critics say the Electoral College has become outdated and unfair.
That's where Americans live, in coastal areas. No one would ever say that, okay, we're going to create an electoral system and we're going to give people in Wyoming 4 votes and people in California 1 vote. Be struck down as unconstitutional.
So far, there haven't been any serious attempts to overturn the Electoral College. But if the 2024 election gives the US yet another minority president, especially one as divisive as Donald Trump, approval ratings for the current system are likely to hit an all-time low.